Hello and welcome to Court of the Rings here on twitch.tv/LotroStream, youtube.com/Lord of the Rings/live, and facebook.com/Lotro. I'm Lotro's community manager, Kurt Oven. Thank you so much for being here, everybody, in Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. Also want to say hello to Druid's Fire, helping me out today. How you doing?
Pretty good. How's about you?
Good. We have a little bit about the latest news. I'm going to be able to drop a pretty big hint as to when you'll be seeing your first Stout Axe. And we'll have a little bit about just kind of what's going on in and out of game throughout the show. We'll do our best to answer your questions. And we are ready to roll with, well, I'm ready to roll.
For good or ill, we now have no choice.
With, oh good, I did, looks like we did actually finish. So yeah, talk to Breglin at Imlid Lilith.
We have made the landing.
Alright, we're gonna go across the river.
Yeah. So, as I mentioned on the Stout Axe, that's to the extent that I've got something to announce. It's not a whole lot, but I do have that to announce. We are on track to have our first Bull Roar preview of the Stout Axe next week. Stay tuned on an exact day. I can't say whether we say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. A lot of that depends on kind of build infrastructure and things that are coming in the next 24 hours or so, but 12 hours or so. But it'll be next week. We're planning for next week on our first Stout Axe preview on Bull Roar. So that should be pretty cool. The other piece I would mention is Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern through... let me double check the end date here. But I think it's through Thursday, or is it actually through Friday? We have the Tale of the Shipwrecked Mariner coming too. This is a small little kind of side quest, sort of loosely related to Talk Like a Pirate Day, historically. And it's just kind of a fun little exploration kind of doohickey quest that you can do. And it's kind of a once-a-year event, and I'm calling up actually the end date on that right now. We double check. I know it starts on Monday. Yep, Monday the 16th at 10 a.m. Eastern, and it ends... it's through September 19th, being shut off on the 20th at 3 a.m. Eastern. So yes, through, it starts on Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern, runs through Thursday, being shut off basically overnight Thursday into Friday, 3 a.m. Eastern on the 20th. And that's the Tale of the Shipwrecked Mariner. And that's like a once-a-year thing that you can do. Okay, we got to break the fellowship here real quick.
Okie dokie.
So those are probably the two kind of big points. On Legendary Server 2, I will have to double check on that. I forgot to ask about that bit.
These are the elves of the Hidden Guard, chosen to bring the prisoner Marzok to the gates of Dol.
I think all that content which in the area it takes place is all perfectly unlocked though, right? So I can't think of why it wouldn't be on the Legendary, but maybe there's something I'm not considering that would preclude its inclusion.
Definitely an interesting question to answer.
Yeah, I'll have to get back to you on that.
Will the Stout Axes have I presume the classes have been finalized? Can you tell us what they are?
No. I'm gonna have to wait for most of the actual Stout Axe information for the preview next week. But it'll be basically what the dwarves are, is my understanding. I don't know that we have a lot of big changes planned there, but I will have to double check on that. It does have its own like starter instance, though. That one I absolutely know is for sure. And they totally look different.
To answer Hoya Bella's question, yes, anybody can play on Bull Roar.
Yep, it is a separate game client that you have to download. So go to the Lotro forums, click on over to the Bull Roar section. You'll find all the sticky threads and that you need to be able to get that done. So,
Or we have a Twitch command for that.
yeah, that too. Okay. Good question, Ponton. My understanding is that for next week's preview, we are focusing on the Stout Axe. If it's not to say that no Minas Morgul stuff might kind of creep into the edges of the game build and all that sort of thing, but my understanding is that the focus is on the Stout Axe, and rather than say a Minas Morgul content preview, which would be a later preview than the one we have planned for next week. So that's coming too, but not yet. But I would not surprise me at all if there was some stuff around the periphery related to it that you would see next week if you're digging around. No, soft snake GR. I would say a quote kinship revamp is not going to fit into the 2019 schedule at this point. So I think we would be looking probably next year for that. But that's not to say some work couldn't happen later this year or something like that. But my understanding on basically a wider kinship work would be next year on that. Just because, got Minas Morgul to get out. And then also, I guess the other piece I could mention is that we've been listening very carefully to your feedback regarding the timing of the Legendary Worlds. And while we don't have kind of some new Bible to announce or anything like that, I can tell you that we're not planning to do Riders of Rohan until early next year in terms of a release on Legendary. So that will not be happening. If there are some of you who are like, oh my god, am I going to have to worry about Rohan, say, over Thanksgiving or something like that? No. That's going to be pushed out into the early part of next year.
That's good, because that's 10 levels of content to play with. And the Isengard instances are a heck of a lot of fun.
Yep.
And definitely I think the Raiders would appreciate having a long time to plumb the depths of things.
We now have no choice but to embark upon this.
Honestly, that isn't really that big a piece of news in that it really falls on the 4-month time frame that we were doing anyway, or we were theoretically doing anyway. But this time, I guess, really, I'm just kind of saying, in this time we mean it, if you know what I mean. So maybe that's not the best way to put it, but that's the basically the practical effect of what I'm trying to say is, if you put 4 months out, you'd be in January, and rather than say like November or something, and that's the plan. So. So where are you at? I am on. Let's see, Volume 2, Book 9, and I've got Volume 2, Book 8, although those are both the older ones from back in Moria, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We don't have to do those previous ones, unless you want to do the completionist thing. They would be helpful, though. I think I ran those on a kinship night not that long ago, so I think what I'll do is I'll probably just take care of those on my own off-stream, something like that. Why don't we just push forward then as to where we are? Which I don't actually have in my epic story. I'm not seeing that yet. Chapter 2, Rumor of Mazog. I picked it up from...
Oh, yeah. There we go. I do have it. Find a coffer in Meadowlure or Asher's... Oh, my God. Find a coffer... Meadowlure or Asher's Mofalug, containing information about Mazog. Defeat Togash orcs or goblins in the Murkies. Okay. All right, so let's head on over there then. We just getting on our steeds? Are we doing like fast travel here?
Yep. Well, there's no fast travel for this. We're just gonna ride to where we need to go. Okay. If you look at your quest map, there's the 2 rings.
Oh, hey, let me speak to the stable master. That might help.
Yeah, now that they're available.
Yeah.
You can't go anywhere yet.
There we go. What was I going to say? That actually just...
Well, curators return. Aren't the curators up right now, or did they go?
Yes,
away
the
this weekend?
curator, I believe the curator is available right now. There was a message on the forums regarding the exact timing of the curator. So I'd refer you to that. I don't have it off the top of my head. But my understanding is I think it's back and it's still back. So. All right.
So I gotta go to the other spot.
Oh, wait a second. I don't know if that coffer worked for me. Here we go. Let's search the coffer,
Yeah.
but finds nothing that mentions Mazog. That's what it should be, correct? Oops.
Wow, you just made a whole bunch of friends.
Man, I did. What the heck? Stop killing me, Merkwood boars.
Heal yourself.
I know. Ah! No!
Hang on, already.
I can revive for free.
I could have raised you.
That's fine. It was free.
Yeah, but you know, you're now on a 2-hour cooldown.
Hmm.
Mm.
I just gonna have to not die. I'm good at that.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. Which stance are you in? You're in red line. We also have to kill some orcs while we're at it. And having the orcs not being killed is going to mess with our quest tracker.
So a comment relates to a recent thing that got published, which I can expound a little bit further on. Brinley the Beloved says, we've waited for Rohan housing for years. We can wait a few more months. That reminds me that it's actually been in the works for quite some time. It took me a little while to get back to the fine folks at D&Co du Milieu and get that interview ready for publication. But it was mostly because I was waiting for a couple of comments. And then, so the interview itself, unfortunately, it was in one of those positions where I had to I couldn't really say a lot about some of the questions. But there is a couple of pieces that are new information. One of which is basically, are we actually ever going to on Rohan housing? And the answer to that is yes. We will be doing Rohan housing. And we've said that, it will be coming out around along the time of Riders of Rohan on the Legendary Worlds, and that also remains correct. There is a chance, based on the timing I just told you of, if we get this out, let's say January sometime, that the housing might be later, like, let's say, springish, late spring, summerish, or something like that. It all kind of depends on how things go with a whole bunch of projects that haven't even really gotten started yet outside of the design stages and such, because, that's how actual game development go. So it might end up being Riders of Rohan gets released on Legendary, and then a little while later we debut Rohan housing. It's a possibility. We'll just kind of have to stay tuned and see how the calendar unfolds here in the coming months. But certainly next year, I think, is a very safe bet on, yes, we will have Rohan housing, and it'll be next year.
Middle-earth Maiden is in the house! Haven't seen Middle-earth Maiden in a while.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Nothing new to say about legendary items. We know that it's a top topic, and it's something that we'll be excited to share more information with you when we can. We're not there yet. My personal hope is that when the time comes, we can actually do a bit of a Q&A sort of thing, whether that be on the forums or video or both, where we can really kind of delve into the wants and needs and complaints and criticisms and kudos and all the rest on legendary items. But we'll kind of have to see where we end up on that. But that's my hope, is that we can, because we're making you wait quite some time for info on that, when we do have info to share, hopefully it can be pretty good. So that's the plan anyway. I got one more
Yep, same here.
orc to get. So I try to be careful, and I think people who watch the stream long enough will know that I try to be careful on some of the words I use. There tends to be very loaded words that show up on forums and Reddit and things like that. One of them is revamp. Revamp is a loaded word only because it can mean all sorts of different things, but it tends to carry with it an expectation of, say, magnitude of change that does not always happen, right? So where does some work turn into a lot of work kind of a thing? You know what I mean? So I tend to try to avoid using the phrase like, when will the X revamp happen? That said, when on the legendary items, we're working on, we know you want to do that, and it's on our agenda, so hopefully that'll be sooner rather than later.
Let me see what you have
And
found.
we'll include the kind of comprehensive work that you would consider a revamp.
At last, someone who will listen to me.
It's a pretty great
Mazog
line.
will account for
I kind of
all
want to
the
grab that
magic
separately and do something with it.
and imagined. Radir has planned a course through Mirkwood that avoids some
At
of the
last,
dangers.
someone will listen to
The hidden
me.
bard departs for Radir's course through the
That's
Drowned
good
Forest.
stuff.
The first leg of the Hidden Guard's journey.
Oh
will
yeah,
take
a
them
lot of
through
these
the
quests are
treacherous
solos, and you're gonna love them
A
just as much as
perilous
the rest of us
route,
do.
but a necessary one when secrecy
Wait, I
is
heard
so
free
highly
pie.
prized.
Cord, did
Yeah.
you say free pie?
No. Yes,
Gosh,
but you'll have to supply your own free pie.
I had free pie at DragCon. That's all I'm gonna say about that. The boozy kind. Okay, so when you go into the quest, you have a choice of what you're gonna do.
Use
for
the
the
banner to issue
Um,
support commands to his... Blah, blah, blah. I'm in need of both morale and power.
Have fun.
Alright.
And just kill all of the things.
Kill all the things.
Chromix, there is currently no news on the Minas Morgul pre-order bull roar opening at this time.
I don't know, that's not true. Minas Morgul pre-order bull roar opening is not necessarily the correct phrase, but we did announce that we are going to be doing our first Stout Axe preview on bull roar probably next week. Stay tuned on the exact day timing on that. But that's very much, part of the Minas Morgul pre-order, because,
I was being specific.
yeah.
But Yiki announced, reiterates you saying free pie is new currency in the legendaries. If that were indeed actually the case, hobbits would have the most maxed out allies possible. If they could be encouraged to give up their pies.
I know I'm going to lose what little credibility I had left with the Lotro community here by saying this. I'm not a big fan of pie.
Well, that's why you're playing a dwarf, dude. Then again, ironically, dwarves are supposed to be hugely fond of beer, and you don't drink, so...
Well, okay, if you're going to include pizza, then I am very, very into pie. But I don't think that I would probably include pizza pie as the kind of pie that is being discussed here. Although I am definitely in support of pizza coming to Middle-earth as well.
And somewhere from across the office, Chris Pearson looks over and glares at you.
Yes, this is probably true.
But speaking of pizza, I have a pizza emote, I'm reminded.
Nice.
Try not to die.
If Warden's getting dot pulses in their trait tree has had any more discussions amongst the team lately? I think the answer to that question is I have not heard of Warden dot pulses coming up among the team lately. But I know that we've got some upcoming classwork being done across the board as per usual. So hopefully, you know, in the near future you'll be seeing that stuff on Bullroar, I imagine, as well. I know, say, the Palantirians are dealing with a bit of classwork with Vastin right now. It happened for, I think, a couple weeks now, actually. So, I know we got stuff incoming. It's just not really ready to get into the details on yet.
Oh, Vastin is cool people.
And per usual, we're not targeting a specific class, but a, you know, all classwork happens simultaneously and gets released when it's ready, kind of a thing. This isn't technically true, but we do a bunch of work on a bunch of different things, and then things don't necessarily always get rolled out in a 1-to-1 ratio of I did A, now A gets released, now I do B, and then B gets released. Sometimes the stuff gets shuffled around a bit based on dependencies and resources and all the other kind of stuff that's involved. Will Minas Morgul release this year? Yes. That I can absolutely confirm. It will be releasing this year. We are going... Which way? This way? No. Nope, other way. Alright. If you had, how many millions is that? Let's see. $100 million to remaster Lotro to a fully modern day game. I think you could probably get it done for that amount of money. No. Oh, that was close. Let me get my health back.
I told you to stay alive.
Yeah, working on it.
Darnell hopes Lotro runs as long as until we all get into retirement. I don't hope it runs long enough for Professor Corey to finish his Exploring Lord of the Rings class, which will probably take until all of us are in retirement. Like, Chris Pearson's kids will have to be working on the game or something.
Yes, there is a really big piece of Minas Morgul's expansion that we really haven't gotten into yet. And I know that it's Sev and the team's hope that we are able to get more info on that specific part of it to you fairly soon. Do I have to go back for Chucharon? Yeah.
Yep, you go back and then forth, and then, yeah.
Okay. It's pretty slow trying to run through this stuff.
That's the point.
I know.
Watch out for the red boxes.
Yeah.
Some of them you can't avoid.
There we go. Also, I think Chris Pearson probably glared at me with the pronunciation of that guy's name. Kukaran?
Well, at least you did the hard C and not the soft C that a lot of people accidentally do with elf names. They're always a hard C.
Yeah. It's Chucharon.
Oh, that's a good question. More quests for the Allegiance system in Minas Morgul?
We'll have a lot more on the details of what's in as we get closer there. But yeah, there's a kind of a big part of the expansion that I think is going to surprise a bunch of people. That should be pretty cool. What are the odds, Sarneleth says on Twitch, that when Riders of Rohan hits the Legendary Worlds, there could be some kind of Riders of Rohan style kind of restyling of that awesome exclusive armor that came with it back in the day, basically. I'm paraphrasing here. I would say the odds are not bad. Oh my god, I'm gonna die again. Stop hitting me!
Minstrel, heal thyself. Don't you have any health pots?
Yeah, I need to hot bar him or something here.
Yes. Darnell, if I'm with you there, just burn Minas Morgul to the ground.
Come on! Yeah, just barely. Ooh, that was too close.
That's like me and my minstrel when I'm running through the Vales of Anduin. Because she had terrible gear and now she's getting better. And now the only reason she's dying is because her player is a dingus.
I would soft snake. It seems kind of foolish to try to tell you what your expectations should be regarding Minas Morgul, but I would say in scope, no, we're not looking at something like dramatically bigger than Mordor. I would say it's going to be Mordor, you know, about what we've been doing, you know, so Mordor sized. But how exactly you equate size of content, you know, I'll let you determine. But in terms of scope, you know, it's a full expansion, so. It's for realsies.
I, of course, have made speculations as as to what I think it will be, but of course I don't know. We'll find out. It'll be exciting either way.
And you'll see it pretty soon here. And you'll learn a lot more about Minas Morgul here, I think, also sooner rather than later. So
there's a Twitch emote for that too.
Well, Darnell, I would say that the pricing structure we've established for our expansions, both for Lotro and the other game, have also remained pretty consistent. And I would not expect this to be dramatically different in that regard either.
You want to run ahead of him.
Yep. I'm just avoiding the red boxes.
I like the pretty blue torches. You don't have to wait on them. Don't. Just
barrel ahead.
Barrel ahead.
All right.
Take care, Middle Earth Maiden. As a champ main soft snake, I'm with you. My champion has not felt much love of late.
Yep. Can we discuss each stream at the end of the stream for those who missed the session? Posting Q&As sounds like something I probably would not be doing anytime soon. I have been trying to reiterate the kind of most important information that I would think I saw or said at the end of the stream here. So I have kind of tried to do that, but... Oh no, I failed. Gosh darn it.
It's because you're supposed to get there first.
I know. Well, this time... So we have to do the whole thing again?
Oh, I know, let's find out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fine. Well, at least this time I'll be better prepared. So.
Yeah, the main one for that final thing is just don't wait around for him.
Yeah. Well, see, I wanted to. I wasn't sure 100% which direction he was headed, so that's why I did that.
Follow the blue, flamey tiki torches. Ooh, Kelliger has a good question. Oh, I'm sorry, Kelliger wants to know if you would listen to a previous soundtrack from the expansion. Hey, could you announce who's doing the composition?
Only if the music bleeds through this microphone from the other room.
Well, then I can suppose, since I happen to know what's across the hallway from you. So, can I say? Because I already know.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess.
Yeah. Well, if the music is being written across the hallway, then it's got to be Dark Zelda, right?
Yeah, I think so. I hadn't heard of any reason not to use it.
Yeah.
It would surprise me in the office if he was not doing the music, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's got some assistance or what have you.
Well,
there's a lot of music there, so.
Yeah, Bill Champagne Kales has been the game composer since Mordor. Yeah. Yeah, but don't follow Mazog in that last segment. You just follow the blue tiki torches and ignore him.
Okay.
Because he's... Yeah, it's kind of like the horse race. To go a little sidetrack it in Legend of Zelda when you get a Epona.
So you're saying it's like steeplechase for the Atari 2600?
Oh, God, Jerry! Yes.
The Sears only exclusive, one of only 2 Sears exclusive games for the 2600. That does not have an equivalent Atari or non-Sears.
Could be like
title.
a Excite Bike for the NES. Yeah, Spartacus, on a minstrel, better stick to your single target skills. Don't use your AoEs because you'll aggro everything. Noir waiting on yes. E.T. was like the worst game ever for the Atari franchise.
No, it wasn't. That's a popular internet myth, but it's not actually true.
What was that one with the dishes you
Dishaster by ZMAG Entertainment. Oh, what I basically, in terms of games people played, it is widely considered to be the worst Atari game. But that's only because there were hundreds of Atari games released that were really bad that people just never played. So when you actually compare it to the full library, E.T. is nowhere. It's not even on the bottom half, although it may be near the bottom half, or slightly in it. Just make sure I'm not missing other questions. Are we fixing the tower in Great River because you can't finish the quest there? I am tempted to say yes. I mean, that sounds like certainly something that should be on the works. I know that there is a small patch in the works. I believe it's currently scheduled for not this next week, but probably the week after. And of course, that is always subject to change. And that would be a small patch to deal with some additional localization work and I believe a few other pieces of bug fixing.
So Jerry, Orion Eternal.
I saw that. You guys are. I can't. I've made a pledge to try to keep the off-topic talk to the minimum, and I think I've already met my current Atari quota. But I do see your text. I am glad to see that I am not the only person. I too will be doing said thing, and I look forward to reporting back.
So if you want to actually listen to Cord talk at great length about Atari, Cord has to stream again, and you can follow him on twitch.tv/mockduck.
Yeah, it's like my personal channel. To be honest, I'm kind of on the not streaming much front right now. Just kind of haven't really had the mood to do a lot of personal streaming lately. I've been playing games and doing housework and working on the yard and doing some projects in the garage and things like that. And I just haven't really felt like doing it too much. But I'm sure it'll come back at some point, so.
I have a question for you. I'm actually kind of. Are we going to be doing Extra Life again this year in November?
Yes. Yeah, that actually just occurred to me within the past couple of days. I was like, oh, I need to start kind of ramping up on Extra Life for October here. But yeah, pretty much my intention is to keep it very similar to last year in terms of the offerings and all that. I think I will probably not do a Play with Cord reward again this year. Frankly, it made management of the project so much easier and led to far less disappointment due to schedule difficulties and what have you. So,
and I'll try not to encourage an embarrassing goal target or anything.
anyway, so, but yeah, I think, I don't know that it's going to be like October 1st, here's all the information, but it's going to be pretty close to that. And I'll probably have a bunch of stuff through the month of October, and then November will be Movember. And I think I actually just had a discussion with some of the folks at Daybreak recently about this, because, they do their Extra Life stuff as well. And we were just kind of tossing ideas and what worked and what didn't for each of us and all that sort of thing recently. And I think we're going to do I'm undecided, frankly, whether or not I should do one, say, Standing Stone Games team this year, or whether I should have separate Lotro and DDO teams this year. I haven't quite decided yet. I'm leaning
Yeah.
towards separate again, based on the stream channels, but that's not really set in stone.
I mean, it was really nice to see the folks from Shroudapalooza donating some money to our side, and of course our people also, reciprocated. It was kind of nice for the two games to work together in that regard. And yes, Bookworm does remind us you still owe us a food solo.
Oh, that's right. All right, I'll
Yeah.
have to dig that up here in the coming weeks.
Oh, Henario has a great idea.
Yeah.
Dance_Hobbit3 would be really awesome to have as an extra life reward.
That's the one that's been missing, but I think there's a reason it's
Yes.
missing. I don't know that I'm going to be able to do that one.
And Chromix123 is requesting to know if there's a new raid scheduled for this year for Minas Morgul.
Sorry, what was that? New raid still scheduled for
Yeah.
this year? Stay tuned on a whole bunch of that sort of thing. Nothing to
They've
announce
been
today.
asking.
It'll probably be similar to what we've done also in recent expansions, where the raid comes a little bit later. But we'll have a lot more info on that real soon here. So, Frill Terrain Color, is this graphics option going to return? My understanding is it was being kind of tested by engineers, and for whatever reason ended up getting pulled, and I don't really see it coming back. I think it got replaced, essentially, with a different frill option that I think is better supportable. But correct me if I'm wrong on that? It's been a little while since I kind of followed the trail on that. How am I doing today? I'm doing fine, thank you. I've got a really awesome weekend. No real planned commitments. A lot of kind of cool reno projects and just fun little projects and stuff to do. I'm working on like kind of restoring an old end table and some pretty fun stuff like that. I was busy last weekend doing some awesome kind of reno work around the house. Put in like a new kitchen faucet, and I'm working on replacing a bathroom fan, etc., etc. Like it's housework stuff, but it's kind of interesting in its own way. And then lots of video games too, which has been kind of nice.
Well, I hope you played video games on Video Game Day the other day.
You know what? I don't think that exists. I don't believe in Video Game Day.
It was a thing. Well, in my
Apparently,
house,
my
it
understanding is it was created by someone on Twitter as a joke, because they, under the heading of anybody could create a day. And so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. But for me, then also every day is Video Game Day, so you know.
Sargrath, in answer to your question, if you bought it back in the day, will you need to buy an expansion again for the legendaries? No. It's you buy it and it sticks on your entire account. Ooh, Master Geralt.
Well, examine the body. Shoot. With head a little bit.
Master Geralt wants to know if we have any news on a new music instrument. What did you do?
I just fell into the swamp. I was gonna jump off, kind of run up and jump off the cliff. I don't really foresee us after all this time doing official controller support in the options, particularly because in 2019, and really since what, about 2015, controller support has really just widened. I don't think that we really need us to do that, so to speak. It's pretty easy to hook a controller to Locho if you're so inclined. There we go. It's a pretty nice line. There we go. Alright. Time to go to a front porch.
I do not know what we can do.
I mean, I'm not trying to be super picky here, but I would say if you call yourself the Haunted Inn in all of Middle Earth, where there's a lot of ghosts and undead, you are probably a Haunted Inn, not the Haunted Inn. I would have to assume. Unless it's just one of those tourist things. But then, really?
Well, I think they are trying to drum up some tourist, support here.
But will we ever get a Cordovan NPC? Hopefully not.
Well, at least it won't be like the Cordovan NPC on the other side, which you get to kill every year for the anniversary.
That's true, that is a thing. But that's a whole different experience. That wouldn't make sense for a game like this.
And I don't cackle maniacally when I do it either.
My elves prepare for another skirmish, a strike against the ruins of Dunanglaw.
Alright, can we team up and do this skirmish?
I don't know if we can do it in 10 minutes.
Yeah. So maybe we should just
I don't remember.
Give it a shot. Just give it a shot.
YOLO.
Yeah.
You're the leader. Cue us up.
Oh god, you're gonna make me do a thing? Alright.
Yup. Gonna make you learn to play, whether you like it or not.
Nice.
Been trying for a year.
Yeah.
See, all these people seem to think that you and I played Lotro like all the time, and this is the only time we get to play together.
Okay, where's the nearest skirmish camp then?
You don't have to go to a skirmish camp. You launch it from the instance finder. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That beautiful, sexy, revamped.
Nice.
I like the new skirmish. The instance finder. It's really nice.
a second.
So what did we learn from last week, Jerry?
Huh.
Is if there is an instance and it says solo, and it doesn't actually say you can only do it as a solo, it offers you a solo version and a group version. Never take the group version unless you're actually in a full party. Because you can duo a lot of solo instances if it lets you.
Go. No.
What?
Nothing. I checked
Control
Discord. Was it? Control. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. Which one do I need to do? Strike against Stone War.
The fun thing is there's a search bar.
Oh, right. Done. There we go. All right. What should I put? Should I lower our level a little bit? Are we all good?
We can do it on level.
On level, you think would be all right? Size 2,
Yeah,
2, 1?
sure.
All right.
Well, okay. 64, that's your level? Yeah, it'll be fine because I'm 67.
Okay.
I'm over
Here
retirement
at
age.
Dananglar, the enemy holds and interrogates those they have captured in battle. The prisoners must
Okay,
be
summon your
rescued
dude.
swiftly.
Ghibli. Man, I remember you from Battlestar Galactica.
Oh my god, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Can I say, it had a big impact on me as a child. Yeah.
You're a weirdo.
Yeah. Also, I like Patrick McNee, and I just saw him in a
McNee's
movie just recently.
The last movie I saw him in was the extremely terrible, but for some reason I still love it anyway, Avengers movie with Uma Thurman and Ray Fiennes and Sean Connery eating so much scenery. It was glorious.
He was in some horror movie from the early 80s I was watching yesterday.
Lesson number 1, chat. If Cord tells you he watched a movie, 9 times out of 10, it's a horror movie.
It's probably true. It's probably true. I do tend to do that. Not only, though. I do have a wider palette than that. Unfortunately, I can't think of the name of it. I think it's a kind of a trashy serial killer, like Jason-ish kind of thing. I can't think of the name of it, though. Yep.
Yeah, he's Spartacus.
Yep.
We get that, but we're not here to do the hard stuff for right now.
When can we sell items from the Lotro store with mithril coins again? I am going to say probably never.
Bad people are why we can't have nice things.
Yeah.
Phil Boswell is in the house for those who are going to be here for Professor Corey's show here in a little bit.
Yep, Corey's. There is one scheduled change. This has actually been around for a while, but I noticed it's incorrect on the map. Ballville is moved to earlier in the day than 9 p.m. I would need to call up Lotro Stream Slack to remember what that is now. I'm trying to say noon?
Noon or 11 or something.
Yeah.
I'm sure Elda could tell you.
Yeah.
Elda's kind of busy killing things.
Yep. Anyway, that's what's going on. In terms of the Lotro Stream schedule, I know that we do have Corey Olson coming up here in just a couple minutes. And what you got going on later on in the day here today?
I'm going to do the Bingo Boffin quest before a maid of lions murders me in my sleep.
Okay.
I always felt really bad about never doing that quest line. So I've been racing through that. But paying attention to it as much as humanly possible. However, as a programming note, I will probably be out soon for 2 weeks. Because who has 2 thumbs and walked into a job interview, walked out with job offer. That would be me. So I'll
Cool.
be in training for 2 weeks, but I don't know if it starts next week or the following week.
I do have one Friday I'm going to be off. I believe it's the first Friday in October. I'm going to be doing stuff with my son, taking him camping. So just kind of cutting out early on a Friday to do a little family time. Yeah.
Hanging out with my favorite demolitions expert.
Yeah. But other than that, I'm pretty well set through the rest of the year, I think, in terms of being around.
How far am I on the bingo thing? I think I'm in the Fang Pit right now. That's why I didn't. Professor Corey visited Crick Hollow on his tour, his class on Tuesday, and I left my main in Moria and was there on Hunter.
We talked last week about maybe using Aria the Valar and things like that. And I do think that's going to happen. It's probably going to be within the next couple of weeks. Even though I have a fairly chill weekend, I kind of have other things. Like I said, I got a lot of projects and just kind of, I don't know what the right term is. I hate to use the term honey-do list because I'm my own honey in this regard, but I have just a lot of kind of housing projects and stuff.
I'm going to start calling you Bob Vila here in a minute.
Yeah.
Or Norm Abrams.
But you know what, though? I managed to put in a really awesome sink faucet in my kitchen. No real issues. I fixed my dishwasher last weekend. So how cool is that?
Yeah,
I fixed a lawnmower. Cleaned out a carburetor. That worked out pretty good. This weekend I'm putting together an end table. And basically I found an old side of the road end table, which is a nice little antique one. But it's just got, decades of varnish and crap on it. And so I'm going to, sand it down and re-oil it and what have you. And that's on my agenda this weekend.
Middle Earth Maiden, I got a job yesterday. Was it yesterday? Or day before yesterday? Yeah.
I'm going to say what it is. Do you feel like talking about it?
It'll be customer service for a company. I'll be a contractor for a bit. It's a contract to hire. Pay's not as awesome, but the company it is for is pretty damn amazing.
Okay. That's cool. Oh, do I have a torch here I need to interact with? No? Okay.
Yeah, kill is rare. This is one of the
That's a lot of morale.
Yes. Keep us alive.
Oh, keep us alive? Okay. God, should have mentioned that earlier. It's a pretty big ask, you realize.
I know. Watch her bleeds. Cause I can spam my bleed remove, but you can't.
Oh,
Crumsicles.
dang.
You can res me real quick? Nope.
Try. Oops, no. Shoot.
Yeah.
Well, the timing is good. It is 1 o'clock here anyway. Ends in defeat again. Week 2 of 2. Alright.
Pine Leaf.
Did I ever watch The Dark Crystal? Look at my age, man. I'm like the kids in Stranger Things. Heck yeah, I watched The Dark Crystal. Yeah.
That was more of a labyrinth.
Yeah.
I love the Dark Crystal book. I didn't like the movie quite as much as I liked the book.
Christian, I agree. I love that show, by the way, too. But if they can't find you handsome, at least they can find you handy. Yeah. All right. Thanks very much for watching Court of the Rings here on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. I'll be back next Friday with more. We should, like I say, got some cool news to debut for next week. Well, we're planning to do our first Bulwer push of the Stout Axe. We have a very small kind of bug fix patch working out in the relatively near future. And next week, the Tales of the Shipwrecked Mariner starts Monday, runs through Thursday, shut off Friday morning, 3 a.m. Eastern. All right, thanks, Druid's Fire. Thanks, everyone, for being here, and I'll see you again soon.